Hindu Times, 12th of January 2024, the Maldives leader acknowledges that the country's connections to China are more robust than those with India. The Maldives is currently experiencing radical Islam and Chinese influence, which is posing a threat to international peace and security and turning the country into a terrible place. Mohamed Muizzu, the president of the Maldives, is now in China. He has urged the communist country to boost travel to the Maldives. To mend the strained bilateral relations between the two nations, Fayyaz Ismail, the leader of the opposition in the Maldives and the head of the Maldivian Democratic Party, stated on Wednesday that the government of the nation ought to have issued a more robust statement denouncing insults directed towards Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Despite claims that the offensive remarks regarding Prime Minister Modi's most recent trip to Lakshadweep indicate the Maldives' pro-China stance, he acknowledged that his country now enjoys closer connections with the government led by Xi Jinping. Mohamed Muizzu, the president of the Maldives, is now in China. He has pleaded with the communist country of India to send more tourists amid calls for a boycott. In response to the visit, Ismail acknowledged that the present administration is interacting with China more actively than with India. First, there's no denying that the current administration has stronger or more favorable ties to China. Except for Israel, the Maldives has always maintained cordial relations with every nation. Thus, there will always be changes in the level of involvement with various partners as the political landscape in the Maldives and extreme Islam evolve along political party lines. According to an ANI report, he stated, and in this instance, you're seeing more robust engagement with China rather than India. He claimed that although the Maldives has historically prioritized India, the current administration takes different approaches to its foreign policy. All Maldivian parties have up till now adhered to the India First strategy, which is essential for our security and stability. However, he pointed out that different parties in the Maldives can have different views on foreign policy and that keeping good relations with China is not something they would all want, as China offers debt without any inquiries. Ismail discusses mending strained relationships. The Maldives government has suspended 3 deputy ministers due to their remarks. It had disassociated itself from the comments, claiming they were unacceptable and did not reflect the nation's official position. Ismail demanded that immediate action be taken to mend the rift with India. Since this affects more than just one government to another, in my opinion, the government ought to take a more firm stance on it. Social media's ease of use has allowed this to reach many Maldivians and Indians. Additionally, several insults have been exchanged back and forth as both sides get into arguments. Therefore, the government must demonstrate that it had no intention of doing so. These were merely the solitary viewpoints of these unhappy individuals appointed to positions of authority inside the government. He stated that this must be made abundantly evident to the Maldivians, Indians, and the rest of the globe, according to ANI. The minister's comments have shattered decades-old bilateral ties. Several well-known Indians have advocated against traveling to the Maldives. The Maldives' economy is heavily reliant on tourism. India is the biggest market in the nation, with an 11% share. After Russia, China is the Maldives' third-largest trading partner, with a 10% market share. Ismail stated that a few people's tweets cannot ruin the connection as a whole. Our country's prior leaders and yours have spent much time cultivating this friendship between India and the Maldives. Thus, he said it is pretty tragic that 1 or 2 tweets might ruin this whole relationship. However, now that this has been made public, I am more worried about how to fix it. Therefore, for us to make amends, our government needs to create a more forceful declaration or take more action. He continued, and I hope that the Indian colleagues will exercise more restraint as well to try to defuse this. Claims of a pro-China slant. The statements, according to Syed Tanveer Nasreen, the former head of the Indian Cultural Center in Mail, reflect anti-Indian views that foreign powers have cultivated. From 2019 to 2023, she served as the director of the Indian Cultural Center at the Indian High Commission in Mail, Republic of the Maldives. What's been going on is terrible, and I take issue with the statements made by the 3 Maldivian ministers who were removed from office. However, I would argue that this is not a one-time or singular incident. She told PTI that foreign powers have been instigating this anti-India build-up for quite some time. The campaign against India was fierce. In addition to wanting the Indian soldiers to leave, they also wanted India to disappear from society and culture. Before Mohamed Muizzu, the current president of the Maldives, was elected mayor of Mail, we had effortless access to parks and community centers for hosting cultural events. However, she continued this easy access was greatly restricted. Manish Tiwari, the head of the Congress, claimed on Monday that China had control over the Maldives. The Maldives are currently under Chinese influence. Sri Lanka has yielded to the power of China. China is absorbing Bhutanese territory. China now has a disproportionate amount of sway over Nepal's politics. The Communist Party of China, CPC, has long held sway over the military junta in Myanmar. China has Pakistan as a client state. China and the Taliban government in Afghanistan now have close connections. In Bangladesh, Chinese economic influence is likewise growing. What impact does India currently have in South Asia? He stated on X that people need to wake up to reality.